Hey guys, Paul Griffin coming to you from Melbourne, Australia, the offices of Text Publishing, one of the absolutely most wonderful publishing imprints in the world. And I am truly lucky to be published by Text. The Text folks are going to publish a book called Burning Blue. That comes out in October. A story about a young woman who is the victim of an acid attack. Half her face is burned. She doesn't know who did it. Young man at her high school, hacker, takes it upon himself to find out who committed the crime. In the process, he falls in love with the young woman who was a one-time beauty queen, and he begins to suspect that the victim might also be the perpetrator. This is the top of the book. This is the boy, the hacker, speaking. I was at the cemetery when it happened. I didn't even know Nicole at the time. Well, I knew of her. Everybody did. She'd won a high-profile beauty competition the year before, the under-16 division. She'd been on the front page of a lot of newspapers. People in the pageant world were saying she was sure to win Miss New Jersey. I'd seen her in the halls and hungered for her from afar like every other dude at the Hollows, but we hadn't talked. Not yet. Still, that afternoon, that moment, when that first molecule pierced her skin, that was the beginning of our connection. One that led me into a darkness that was as twisted as it was sublime. The water brought us together. The storm. The sky was horrific, dark, dirty green. According to Google Maps, Pinemont Cemetery and Brandywine Hollows High School are about 4.11 miles apart, but Nicole and I were bound by the rain. It was something that day. It was so strange. It was too hard to be liquid, too cold for the second Thursday of September. It smashed my mother's gravestone, a nothing special marker the size of a high-top shoebox. The first burst of downpour ricocheted upward at my eyes and stung my face like a sucker punch. I'd cut my last two classes to clock an extra hour on my shift card after my boss texted that a lot of people had called in sick. I often stopped by the cemetery on my way to work. I loved the quiet, but with the rain I didn't linger. I was chasing down the bus, dodging the spray the wheels drew from a lake-like puddle the exact moment Nicole was hit. She was with Dave Bendix, our wrestling team captain, and thought by many, me included, to be one of the nicest guys in school. He was definitely the most popular. This was just before last period. They were messing around in a cutout in the lockers past the Sea-Wing water fountain by the windows that overlooked the creek. They'd been together maybe 5 months. Nicole would tell me later that up to this point, Dave was a sweetheart, total gent. But that afternoon, he was jacked up on too many Red Bulls or whatever. He was desperate. He wouldn't let her go. He kept saying one last kiss. The first bell had rung, and the last few stragglers were moping toward their classes. Dave was playing safecracker. He was circling Nicole's belly button with his fingertips. She had to get it to AP Chem. Second bell rang. Hallway was empty. Nicole wriggled out of Dave's hug and ran for the circle that connects A, B, and C wings. Whatever your concept of gorgeous, Nicole Castro trumped it. She was tall, thin, not too, round in all the right places, long chestnut hair, but more than that, her face, her lips, full, pouty. Except back then she was always smiling. She had these high cheekbones, no need for makeup, not a blemish to cover. It was unassailable, her splendor. Almost unassailable. She hooked left for B-wing. She turned back briefly to airmail a kiss off the tip of her index finger to Dave, but he wasn't there anymore. She sagged for a second, and then she spun away for Chem. She was halfway into her turn when it happened. Life as she knew it. Gone. Took maybe half a second. The last thing she saw was a squirt bottle coming up toward her face. A squeeze machine wrapped in orange foam. A lightning bolt.